Have you ever had one of those days where you feel a little creaky getting out of a chair, and you think to yourself, well, I guess that's just part of getting older? Maybe you notice your balance isn't quite what it used to be, or you don't have the same spring in your step. It's easy to chalk these little moments up to age, isn't it? We tend to think that slowing down is just an inevitable part of the journey once we hit our 60s and 70s. But here's something fascinating that might surprise you. What if I told you that the way you're moving, or not moving, right now could actually be a powerful clue about how long you're going to live? It sounds almost too simple, but researchers who study longevity, the science of living a long and healthy life, have discovered some incredible things. They've found that there are specific, rare abilities that people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s possess that are strongly linked to living to 100 and beyond. And the best part? These aren't about winning a gold medal or running a marathon. These are simple, everyday things that you can probably do right now, or with a little practice, can get back. In this video, we're going to explore these amazing markers of longevity together. We'll look at the physical signs that your body is not just surviving, but thriving. Think of it as a little checklist, not to make you feel worried if you struggle with some of them, but to give you hope and a clear path forward. Because the truth is, your body is incredibly capable of regeneration and strength, no matter your age. It's about waking up those abilities and treating them like the precious gifts they are. So, let's start with the very first thing. And this might be the most telling sign of all. The strength to rise. Let's talk about the floor. Not the most glamorous topic, I know, but stay with me. Imagine for a moment that you're sitting comfortably on the floor. Maybe you're playing with a grandchild, or you've dropped your keys. The question is, can you get back up again without using your hands or your knees for support? Can you rise to a standing position using only the strength of your legs and your core? This isn't just a party trick. In the world of longevity research, this simple act is a massive predictor of your overall health. There's even a famous study called the sitting rising test that looked at thousands of people over several years. The researchers found that people who could sit down on the floor and stand back up using minimal support were far more likely to be alive years later than those who struggled. Why is this one movement so powerful? Because it tests so many different systems in your body at once. It checks your balance, your coordination, your flexibility in your hips and knees, and most importantly, your muscular strength, especially in your legs and your core. Your leg muscles are your body's largest muscle groups. They act like a second heart, pumping blood back up from your legs to your chest. When those muscles are strong and functional, your circulation improves, your heart has to work less hard, and you maintain your mobility, which is the key to independence. If getting up from the floor feels like a monumental task right now, please don't feel discouraged. The very fact that you're watching this video means you're curious about your health, and that's the first and most important step. This isn't about being perfect today, it's about building a stronger tomorrow. You can start by simply practicing. Find a safe, carpeted area, and with a sturdy chair nearby just in case, practice lowering yourself down and standing up. You can use your hands at first. The goal is to gradually rely on them less and less. It's a gentle but powerful way to tell your body, I still need you. I still believe in you. The art of the one-leg stand. Now, staying with this idea of functional strength, let's move from the floor to something you do every single day, standing. But let's make it a little more interesting. How long can you stand on one leg? 10 seconds? 20? A full minute? This is another one of those rare things that researchers have found to be a stunningly accurate marker for brain and body health. A study published a few years ago in the British Journal of Sports Medicine made headlines. It showed that a person's ability to balance on one leg for 10 seconds was linked to their risk of dying from any cause over the following decade. Those who couldn't do it were nearly twice as likely to die during the study period compared to those who could. Now, again, this isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to illuminate just how crucial your balance is. Your balance isn't just about not falling. It's a complex, beautiful dance between your eyes, your inner ear, and your muscles, all coordinated by your brain. When you stand on one leg, your brain is constantly making tiny, microsecond adjustments to keep you upright. It's a phenomenal workout for your nervous system. Think of it as a report card for your neuromuscular health. If you can hold that one-legged stand, it tells us that the communication lines between your brain and your body are open and clear. It tells us that the small, stabilizing muscles in your ankles, knees, and hips are doing their job. These are the muscles that prevent a stumble from turning into a fall. And here's the encouraging news: balance is like a muscle itself. You can train it and improve it at any age. Start by holding onto the back of a chair or your kitchen counter. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground and see if you can hold it for 5 or 10 seconds. Switch sides. Do this every day while you're waiting for your tea to steep or your coffee to brew. As you get more confident, try letting go with one finger, then with no hands at all. You're not just working on your balance, you're actively building a stronger, more resilient brain. You're telling your entire system, we're staying steady. We're staying in this game. So, we've talked about getting up from the floor and balancing on one leg. These are wonderful tests of your body's foundation. But a long, vibrant life isn't just about what you can do with your body, it's deeply connected to how you engage with the world around you. And that brings us to something perhaps even more essential: the strength of your connections. We've been talking about the fascinating signs that suggest a long and healthy life might be in your future. We explored the incredible importance of being able to rise from the floor without support and the remarkable power of simply standing on one leg. These physical markers are like windows into the health of your muscles, your nerves, and your brain. But a life that stretches all the way to 100 isn't just about the physical. In fact, some of the most powerful predictors of longevity have nothing to do with how fast you can walk or how much you can lift. They live in the quiet, resilient spaces of your mind and heart. The fire of purpose. Let me ask you something. When you wake up in the morning, what gets you out of bed? I don't mean the alarm clock or the list of chores. I mean, deep down, what are you looking forward to? Is it a phone call with a friend? Is it tending to your garden? Is it finishing a book, learning a new recipe, or simply watching the sunrise with a cup of coffee? This might sound a little soft compared to the physical tests we just discussed, but stay with me, because this is one of the most rigorously studied areas in the science of aging. Researchers call it purpose in life, and it is a powerful, rare thing that people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who live to 100 possess in abundance. They have a reason to get up in the morning. They have a why. There's a famous long-term study that followed older adults for years, and they found that the ones who scored highest on measures of purpose and meaning in their lives were significantly less likely to die during the study period than those who felt aimless. They had lower rates of heart disease, better cognitive function, and were simply more resilient. Having a purpose is like an internal compass that keeps you moving forward, even when the path gets a little rocky. Think about it. When you have something to look forward to, your brain releases chemicals that combat stress and promote healing. You're more likely to stay active, to eat well, and to engage with the world because you want to be around to see what happens next. Purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It can be as simple as wanting to see your granddaughter graduate, or mastering a new skill you never had time for when you were raising a family and working. It could be volunteering at a local library, writing your memoirs for your family, or even just being the person who makes the best lasagna for the block party. If you feel like that sense of purpose has faded a little over the years, you can absolutely reignite it. Think back to things you loved when you were younger. Was there a hobby you put aside? A place you always wanted to visit? A cause you cared about? Purpose is often hiding in plain sight, and the things that make you lose track of time. It's in the activities that make you feel fully alive. Nurturing that feeling is not just a nice thing to do for your spirit, it's a profound investment in your physical health. It's giving your heart and mind a reason to keep going strong. The quiet strength of adaptability. Now, let's move from purpose to another quality that might surprise you. And this one is all about how you handle the unexpected. Life has a habit of throwing curveballs, doesn't it? A health scare, the loss of a loved one, a change in living situation. We all face challenges. But here's the rare and powerful ability that separates those who thrive into their hundreds from those who struggle, the ability to bend without breaking. It's called adaptability or resilience. Think of it like a tree in a storm. A rigid, brittle oak might have a massive branch snap off under the pressure of strong winds. But a flexible willow? It bends, it sways, it goes with the flow, and when the storm passes, it springs right back up, often with no damage at all. People who live a long time are like that willow tree. They've learned that fighting every change, resisting every new reality, is exhausting and ultimately futile. Instead, they've developed the quiet wisdom to adapt. This doesn't mean they don't feel sadness or frustration. Of course they do. But they've learned a secret, that happiness isn't about having a life without problems, it's about having the tools to navigate those problems. It's about looking at a situation and asking, okay, this is hard. This is different. But what can I do now? What small step can I take to move forward? I knew a woman once, Margaret, who was widowed at 78 after 52 years of marriage. Many people in her position might have withdrawn, feeling that their best years were behind them. But Margaret, after a period of grief, decided to adapt. She had never managed the finances before, so she took a small course at the local community center. She had always relied on her husband for driving at night, so she joined a group that had a volunteer driving service. She missed companionship, so she started a little weekly coffee club in her apartment building. By the time she was 85, she had a fuller social life than most people half her age. She didn't ignore her grief, but she adapted her life around it, finding new ways to create meaning and connection. This ability to adapt is a skill you can practice. It starts with small things. When your usual routine is disrupted, can you find a new one? When a favorite restaurant closes, can you discover a new place to enjoy? When you have a minor ache or pain, can you find a different way to stay active, like switching from walking to swimming? Each time you successfully navigate a small change, you are building resilience for the bigger ones. You are proving to yourself that you are capable, that you are strong, and that you can handle whatever comes next. This quiet, flexible strength is a hallmark of those who live not just long, but well. So we've talked about the fire of purpose and the quiet strength of adaptability. These inner qualities are just as vital as any physical ability. They shape how we experience our days and how we weather life's inevitable storms. But there's one more piece of this puzzle, and it's something that connects us all. It's about the people we choose to have around us and the incredible power of giving. The final piece of this puzzle is something so simple, so deeply human, that we often overlook its power. We've talked about your body's strength, your mind's purpose, and your spirit's adaptability. But none of these exist in a vacuum. They are all nourished and sustained by something profoundly important, your connections with others. This brings us to what might be the most beautiful and rare thing of all, the gift of giving and belonging. The circle of connection. Think for a moment about the people in your life. Not just your family, though they're certainly part of it. Think about the friend you call when you have good news. The neighbor you wave to across the street. The cashier at the grocery store you always chat with. The person who sits next to you at church or at the senior center. These threads of connection, however small they may seem, weave together into a tapestry that can literally add years to your life. There's a famous study from Harvard that followed a group of men for nearly 80 years, tracking every aspect of their lives. The lead researcher, Dr. Robert Waldinger, has said that the clearest message from this incredible study is this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier. Period. It wasn't cholesterol levels or exercise habits that predicted who would live the longest and healthiest lives. It was the quality of their relationships. People who were more socially connected to family, to friends, to community, lived longer and experienced slower cognitive decline than those who were more isolated. Now, here's the part that might surprise you. It's not just about receiving love and support. It's about giving it. People in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who live to 100 are often the ones who are still contributing. They're the ones offering advice, baking cookies for a sick neighbor, listening to a friend's troubles, or sharing their wisdom with younger generations. This act of giving creates a powerful feedback loop. When you help someone else, your brain releases endorphins and oxytocin, sometimes called the helper's high. It reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and gives you a profound sense of purpose and worth. I think of a man named Arthur I once heard about. At 82, he started having trouble getting around after a minor stroke. He could have easily retreated into his apartment and focused only on himself. Instead, he noticed that many of his neighbors in the building were younger families who were often stressed and rushed. So Arthur did something simple. Every Tuesday afternoon, he'd sit in the lobby by the mailboxes with a big jar of hard candies and a deck of cards. He'd offer a piece of candy to anyone passing by and ask if they had time for a quick game of gin rummy. At first, people were too busy. But slowly, they started stopping. For 10 minutes, they'd sit and play and laugh with Arthur. He wasn't just passing time. He was creating community. He was reminding people to slow down and connect. And in doing so, he gave himself a reason to dress nicely, to be alert, and to engage with the world. He gave himself a role. If you're watching this and feeling a little isolated, or if you've lost some of your social circle over the years, please know that it's never too late to build new connections. It starts with small steps. It starts with striking up a conversation with that neighbor. It starts with joining a group that shares an interest you have, book clubs, walking groups, volunteer organizations, even online communities. It starts with reaching out to an old friend you haven't spoken to in years. The phone doesn't have to ring only with bad news. You can be the one to make it ring with a simple, "I was thinking of you today." And don't underestimate the power of intergenerational connections. Young people have energy and fresh perspectives. They can learn so much from your experience, and you can be invigorated by their enthusiasm and their view of the world. Whether it's your own grandchildren, a mentorship program, or just being friendly to the teenagers in your neighborhood, these connections bridge gaps and keep your mind flexible and engaged. So, as we wrap up our time together today, let's take a gentle look back at the path we've walked. We started with your body, with the profound strength found in simply getting up from the floor and the delicate power of standing on one leg. We moved inward, to the fire of purpose that gets you out of bed each morning and the quiet, resilient strength of adaptability that helps you weather life's storms. And finally, we arrived here, at the circle of connection, at the beautiful truth that we are not meant to walk this path alone. These aren't just random traits. They are interconnected parts of a whole, healthy life. When you strengthen your body, you give yourself the freedom to pursue your purpose. When you have purpose, you're more resilient in the face of change. And when you connect with others, you feed your spirit and give your purpose a place to flourish. Here's the most important thing I want you to take away from this video. You have more control than you think. Your age is just a number. It is not a sentence. It is not a limitation. It is simply a fact, like the color of your eyes. What truly matters is what you do with the time you have. Every single day, you make choices that shape your future. You choose to practice standing on one leg. You choose to call a friend. You choose to find one small thing to look forward to tomorrow morning. These small choices, repeated day after day, build the foundation for a long, vibrant, meaningful life. If you're 60 or 70 or 80 and you can do some of these things, or if you're working toward them, you are not just surviving. You are thriving. You are sending a powerful message to your body and your mind that you believe in the future. And that belief, that quiet, stubborn hope, might just be the rarest and most powerful thing of all. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I would genuinely love to hear from you. Which of these things do you already do? Which one are you going to try this week? Is there something else you've noticed in your own life that keeps you feeling young and engaged? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story might be just the encouragement someone else needs to hear. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. It really helps others in our community find it. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. We're building a wonderful community here, focused on living our best lives at any age, and I'd be honored to have you along for the journey. Until next time, take care of yourself, reach out to someone you love, and remember, the best years are not behind you. They are still ahead, waiting for you to shape them. Here's to you. Here's to your health. And here's to living your best life, right here, right now.